Hello Canterbury and happy Monday to you all. It is the 25th of May. It is the last week of New Zealand Music Month, so make sure you're in to win, and I'm about to show you, rightio, the the Logitech Uni Mega Boom we've got there over here. Let's have a look and see exactly what this bad boy does. Rightio, and to win the Logitech UE Mega Boom, all you need to do is go to our Facebook page, make sure you like us, and leave your details, and you could be the winner that I call out on Friday morning. Right, next to it there is some tickets to head along to the netball. Now, who's playing? It's of course the Mainland Tactics versing the Waikato Bay of Plenty Magic. Another great thing to enjoy in the weekend, and likewise next to it, Hoyt's movie tickets. So, over my shoulder, New Zealand Music Month. It is the last week, and we've got those awesome t-shirts here to give away, as well as a bag and the beautiful Ira Mitchell Kirk. This painting here, you can win it this week, which is just lovely. And we've got her new painting for next week, which I'm really looking forward to. It's a Matariki theme, so very cool indeed. So for all of this, all you need to do, just call through to Catherine on 3 777 033, or go to our Facebook page and leave your details. Rightio. We do have a winner though, To Hell with Poverty. We had this wonderful book here, and the author was Rodney Loreto. Now, the winner of this is Paul Carroll. Yes, now he sent us a little mini essay, actually, an email about why he wanted it, so gladly it is yours. Thank you, Paul. Rightio. Coming up on today's show, reflexology. Have you heard about it? Have you had it done? Well, you are going to be educated today. Michelle joins me to explain to us exactly about why this is such a wonderful method for your body and soul. Alice in Videoland, this wonderful entity that resides in the CBD. In 2010, I had the pleasure actually of spending the day with the team at Alice in Videoland, and we go back in time. Why? Because today it is their birthday. It's 30 years since the conception of Alice in Videoland. So we look forward to going back down memory lane. And it's quite lovely, some of the footage you'll see. Of course, it was before 2011. So very nice indeed. But first up, it's Monday morning, and we have Nicola Freya from Nourish. Nicola, welcome.
Thank you.
Did you have a lovely weekend?
I did, yes. Very lovely, relaxing weekend.
It's nice, isn't it, when you don't have too much to do and run around, isn't it?
Yes, nice to have a bit of sun before we got this chilly day today.
Weekends can be a bit of time that you can indulge though, isn't it? And maybe indulge too much. And that's what today's all about, isn't it? Yeah. It's portion size. Yeah.
Yes, it's one of those things, it's perceived as sometimes as good value to get more for your money or more on your plate, but it's not necessarily good value for our health.
No. So, yeah. Okay, so portions, and we've got a couple of examples down in front of us now, Nicola, we look at, and these are really good, especially the cookie one. I think you've done very, very well on that. And this is just probably quite a crude way of just showing everyone about the different sizes.
Yes, and it sort of happened over decades really, that sizes have increased so much. We've got the big biscuit here with the little chocolate chippy. That bigger biscuit there is it's about 7 or 8 times the little cookie here. So you can imagine, you know, that might go in a school lunch, or that might be as a snack for a child. But they're eating so much more than we may have in our youth. When you just had your little biscuit.
What did you have in your lunch? Can you remember what you used to have?
I do remember chocolate chip biscuits, but yes, sandwich.
And one sandwich and a bit of fruit. That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You have all this plastic that seems to go into lunch boxes now.
So much packaging, isn't it?
So much packaging.
Yeah.
And next to it, the muffins?
So the muffin, that's a real big culprit here. The giant size muffins, you know, it just seems, you think, oh, good value, that'll fill me up. But, you know, the normal size muffin here looks tiny in comparison.
Well, that's one you'd have at home, isn't it? You'd make yourself in your own normal muffin tins as well.
And drinks are a biggie. This little cup here is only about 1 cup of drink. Even if you're not even thinking about whether it's fizzy or not, say it was even you know, juice or something like that. It's that would be your standard serving size that you might have with a meal. This is nearly 3 cups, so and you think it's good value. It's actually a lot to drink of anything, in particular if it's fizzy or something like that. It's a lot of sugar. So that's why, you know, it's a big contributor towards the obesity problem, all this upsizing and people eating a lot more than they actually need.
And I think of when I was in the States recently, is that they have those big, mega slurp
buckets,
things. They have buckets of drink.
Yes.
And I'd hate to see us going towards that sort of level, I think, with especially with obesity, that the big O.
And it's really bad for your teeth as well, because it takes so much more time to drink that. It's swishing around your teeth, all that sugar and acid. So it even has that secondary problem as well, that decay.
Oh, yeah, yuck. Now, next to you, this lovely little helpful plate here. Let's talk about that.
So I've just got this. This is just a smallish plate, but it just gives the example of the proportions for your meals. So the green side here is what we should have for vegetables, and then 1/4 of the plate for your protein items, so your meat, or if you're vegetarian, your beans or pulses, that sort of thing, and 1/4 for the carbohydrate, so potatoes, rice, that sort of thing. Another simple way to work out the portion sizes that is recommended, that the palm of your hand should be about the size of your meat portion.
Right.
Yeah, so, and a handful, or a fistful, sorry, your clenched fist is the size of your carbohydrate, so potatoes, rice, that sort of thing. And then, of course, everyone will have heard of 5+ a day. The hand that we see for that, 5 fingers keep you 5+ a day, and your handful is the size of a serving of fruit or vegetables. But in particular, we're talking about vegetables here. But I really like that, because a young child, their little handful, you know, is smaller, of course, and that's a really nice way to gauge, you know, a child's portion or an adult portion, the size of your hand.
But how do we keep in proportions? Because especially if you have a yummy meal, you go back for more, and you may. I mean, do we just physically have to just stop ourselves and go, that is enough?
I think that a few good ideas are, if you're getting a value pack of something, or you're getting a good deal and more than you would normally eat as a family, serve the meal up and put the rest away. Don't just leave it there for seconds and thirds, or go back, we must finish that off. Just have your normal meal, and then the rest can be saved for another meal, or you might be able to share more between a larger number of people. Yeah.
Okay. Now this week our recipe is the fruit crumble tomorrow. Very yummy indeed, and that is another lovely winter goodie, isn't it?
Lovely winter one. It's got rolled oats and coconut added into that one, so it's really tasty.
Oh, yum! I can't wait to see it tomorrow. Hey, thank you so much, and some great tips there, especially about the portions, taking it away from the table. That's a good tip for me, actually. Good on you. Thanks for that. Now, stay with us after the break. As promised, we head to Alice in Videoland. And with a gentle hand laid where childhood's dreams are twined in memory's mystic band, like pilgrims' withered wreath of flowers plucked in a far-off Videoland. And that is where our story begins.
My enlightenment came with the first Wellington Film Festival, and realising that this is quite awesome. I'd read about these legendary films that we could never see any other way, and so I thought, well, you know, maybe one day. And so happened I got involved in a construction company, or basically founded a construction company, and it did do exceptionally well. And I thought, with the proceeds of that, maybe art house cinemas, that would be the way to do this. Then sort of the advent of video came along, and after hiring a couple of these videos and just having a look at the potential that this really had, is sort of we invested into probably the first video store in Christchurch. It was based on a very, very commercial model, insofar as the early adapters to video were generally people who didn't have very high expectation of film, and so it was just slush for the masses, basically, that was feeding that industry. The odd good film was trickling in amongst this avalanche of mediocrity, and we thought, well, why not start isolating these gems and put them in a different place? So I had a little shelf in the first video shack in National Mutual Arcade, and it was such well supported, and people thought, oh, it's not all about this, it can be about that. And so we thought, well, look, why don't I just pull out of this, because you can't work one model within another model. It has to be one or the other. So Alice was born that way.
Alice's adventures began in a magical land hidden in the hollows of Hereford Street.
It was quite a special little store insofar as we had lost Hayes Roof, and we'd lost the big kiwi down Colombo Street, and we'd lost a few of the other little things that I'd grown up with that were quite special to us. So we thought, well, look, why don't we create an environment that you know you're not in the real world any longer. So we set up this little store, and it was basically had the look about it of a pop-up book. And so you'd walk in there, you'd go over a rainbow, which, you know, a lift in your day, when your day is basically linear, was quite exceptional. Then you're onto the AstroTurf, and then you sort of look around and, you know, straight away it was a horse of a different colour. So that was a lot of fun at its day, just to even put it together.
Thus grew the tale of Wonderland.
Oh, well, Alice just, like in the story, she just grew, her arms were coming out the windows, the doors, and she just couldn't operate in there any longer. You know, a box of film would arrive and we'd sort of scratch our heads where we're going to put it. And because we've never retired film, ever. Once it makes the grade to be into Alice's, it never retires itself. It's always there. If it falls over, we replace it. And I was just driving around for a long time, maybe 6 months to 9 months, and then I saw a lease sign on this building. And I thought, right, that's it, say no more. And so we signed a lease as quick as we could, with a contingency that if it was to come for sale, which most post offices were being put on the block in those days, that we had first option, and they agreed to that. And the rest is history. Here we are, and we now have the building to ourselves. So.
And what challenges were met before you found the limelight?
So initially, really, it was small membership, small club. Word of mouth is what we've pretty much always relied on, and that was kind of in the early days. You know, we did a very brief bit of advertising, but really word of mouth got around. You know, one of the hurdles in the early days is like when companies would issue tapes, they would only rent them to the library, so you had to pay a rental fee. So, whereas nowadays you can buy the film and have it permanently. But back then, if a film, you'd rent it for 6 months, and if it wasn't earning its keep, you know, if people weren't renting it, you'd have to send it back. So, you know, so you'd have all these great films in the library, but then they disappear after 6 months. So you had to sort of get in, and if you didn't get to see it then you dipped out again until maybe it got reissued again later down the track. So that was, you know, one of the annoying things in the early days. Yeah. In the early days, films used to be a lot more expensive before they became a retail sort of commodity. So you'd be paying upwards of $150 for one title sort of thing for the library, you know. So if you're buying, you know, 50, 60, 100 titles a month, you can see how that soon adds up. But nowadays, you know, the costs have come down because retail has become a big part of the film, you know, marketing strategy.
Alice is home to one of Canterbury's most respected film reviewers, Nick Paris, that likens Alice to an invaluable tool.
Viewers can recall sort of these 0800 ads in print media and TV media of the Swiss Army knife. It's your basic survival knife. It'll do anything. It'll make you know, a starving man eat in the desert or whatever, you know, as long as you've got this knife. Well, that's it for Alice's. It's the moniker. It's a survival kit because, let's face it, we're faced with a lot of bad cinema all around us, and yeah, so you're armed with a survival knife, and that's us. We're here to archive past history and to preserve you know, the intellectual property of all those directors, from silent right through to contemporary. So we're an archivist, and that's why I like living here, because living here, I'm working here, I'm breathing everything, I'm mostly here all the time. But yeah, we're just preserving the past for the future generations.
Well, not 24 years, but definitely 30 years. Happy birthday to Alice in Videoland, and we continue down the hole with Alice to Alice in Videoland.
There's nothing else like it anywhere in the world. You know, Sydney, Melbourne, London, New York, Chicago, Ekatahuna. You know, there's nothing like it. Okay, and it shouldn't be rocket science either, you know. I think because we've got an assemblage of people who cares about cinema is why the foundations of this is spewed forth. So, yeah, I'm very surprised that there's no Alice's anywhere else, but, you know, Christchurch can lay claim to fame that this is the best video like that.
From thousands of titles that have passed through the rabbit hole to the shelves of Alice, what do these three passionate men rate as their favourite film of all time?
I'd have to go back to Harold and Maude, quite simply because it was a philosophical watershed for me when I saw it. Because I'd had an upbringing on the West Coast and, you know, I say not so much relatively sheltered, but I'd never been exposed to other ways and forms of philosophical thought. And then I saw this and I thought, well, you know, there's a whole new way here, let's have some more of this. And so I've got such fond memories of that film, still have.
Oh, Harold, I am happy. I couldn't imagine a lovelier farewell.
Farewell?
Yes, it's my 80th birthday.
Well, you're not going anywhere. Are you?
Yes, dear. I took the tablets an hour ago. I'll be gone by midnight.
My favourite movie, without question, is called Seven Samurai. It's a Japanese film from the 1950s. It was remade in Hollywood as The Magnificent Seven in the 60s. Basically, it's about a troop of samurai who are hired by this village. This village is being invaded by sort of bandits every year, and the village hires, and they're a very poor village, so they can only afford to hire 7 samurais to protect them, basically. But what's great about it is not only the spectacle, it's a big action sort of epic, but it's the humanity that comes through in the characters as well. All the characters get their own sort of moment in the spotlight, and they're just very well drawn out, and it's a brilliantly crafted film. You know, it's recognised as a masterpiece of world cinema.
Breaking the Waves is my favourite film. Young, naive woman growing up on a Calvinist island off the north coast of Scotland is hated by the local Christian community because she's looking after a crippled oil rigger. She's fancy, and she decides to continue her lovemaking while he's crippled, and so the church folk says, no, you can't do that, you know, and she's basically banished as a harlot, you know, and is sent to an asylum to mend her ways. It ends in sort of, it's part of a Golden Heart trilogy by La Von Trier about saintly heroines, and it's got the most beautiful ending one can imagine. But Emily Watson's in it, and it was her debut performance, and it's just one that resonates with me from day one to now.
We're going to die.
You're not going to die. I know you're not. I promise you.
I sincerely hope Alice holds its course. It's an amazing collection. It's taken really 25 years to actually get the maturity that it's got now, where I can categorically say that we have got every great film ever made in one collection. Well, you know, if anyone's ever collected anything, to be able to stand back and say that, it's quite a statement. It's quite a statement.
And then we go, Alison, big thanks to JB, who was my Karen there. He's now at TV3. But just a bit of trivia. We actually filmed that 3 days before the first earthquake in 2010. So there you go. But happy birthday to them. 30 years, pretty cool indeed. After the break, very cool indeed, especially for our feet, our body, reflexology. Michelle Withers joins me. See you soon. Rightio, reflexology, and maybe a term or something you've heard about, but you actually don't really know a lot about it. And thank goodness that we have Michelle here to explain it all to us from the Southern Reflexology Group. So you're actually the chair or the...
I'm president at the moment.
Presidente. So what is reflexology? Let's take it back to basics.
Sure. Well, reflexology is a complementary therapy which using pressure with our fingers, and sometimes it's other tools, we work on the feet, hands and ears, and we're stimulating the body systems by applying that pressure on these little micro areas which are linked to the body through the nerve pathways. So we're actually putting pressure on these various spots that are mapped onto the feet, the hands and the ears, and we're looking to bring about a whole lot of benefits for people through actually doing that kind of pressure work.
Because you've just nailed it then, benefits. A lot of people don't appreciate or realise or have the knowledge that the feet control so many benefits in other parts of the body. That's it, isn't it? It's a trigger.
Yeah, well, we're looking at about 7,500 nerve links, and there are actually key spots, for example, the big toe, which is linked to the head. There's the digestive system, which, you know, when we work on that can often have huge benefits. We see particularly with constipation, for example. There are research papers around changes in blood pressure. We see reductions in fluid through lymphatic drainage techniques. But most importantly, it's about releasing tension, reducing pain, having time out, making changes in sleep or mood, balancing out hormones. It's kind of an endless list. It's really quite amazing the breadth of benefits that you can get.
So, and you've made it pretty easy. Why would you choose reflexology over maybe potentially another therapy?
I think it's very accessible because, for one, you stay fully clothed, which gives people a lot of comfort when there's some kind of touch engagement. And for people who are okay with their feet being worked on, now it's not ticklish. People think it's ticklish, but it's reasonably good pressure so that it shouldn't feel all light and fluffy as such. So the feet, and you can sit back with feet up, it's lovely and relaxing. We can work on hands if people choose not to have their feet worked on, which is also nice and accessible. And as I say, there's also the ear option that some of us are trained in as well.
Tell us about in particular the Southern Reflexology Group.
Oh, right. Well, we've got a great little group where we represent people who are interested in reflexology and the promotion thereof in the Great South Island. Most of us are here in Canterbury, but we do have those in the group who are like Timaru, Nelson and Wanaka, etc. And so we've just had a new year and we're trying to get a few more people together for a nice little $20 fee that are interested in us organising a few meetings and promoting reflexology here in the southern region.
You've got a great website though, I think it's quite informative. It is southernreflexology.co.nz, where it's quite informative. And yes, for those reflexologists, and there could be some that have moved to Canterbury as well, that may like to catch up with colleagues and that, it'd be quite a good vehicle for them. That's
right, and we've got a Facebook page too. We've got 150 likes on there, which we're pretty proud of, given that we're around 20. Or early 20s of members, hopefully a few more, but yeah, and we want to make it fun too. We go to the Body, Mind, Spirit Festival. We usually go to the Women's Lifestyle Expo as well, which is in late September, October. We have done the Coast to Coast. We went to Pallet Pavilion one World Reflexology Week, which was it was a really cool night out to go there. And so we're interested if we can get people's enthusiasm and doing cool events.
Well, we need to get you back in and maybe show a live demo. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
We can do that,
absolutely.
We can do it.
Thanks, Michelle. Have an awesome week. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great, feeling good, reflexology, just take a nice cup of tea and relax. Now we're leaving with John Rolls, Tanya, and this is for my little sister, Tanya. New Zealand Music Month, very cool indeed. Have a great day.
My song is for